The Slammer is the brand new Nightfall sword in rotation this week and is the third of its kind to receive the Eager Edge perk. Naturally, the community was sent into a farming frenzy attempting to collect the notorious god roll, and for good reason too, because as you'll see shortly, due to the unique properties of Vortex frame swords, the movement implications for this weapon are truly brilliant and rivaled by no other. Today's video aims to break down everything you need to know about this new sword when it comes to movement, damage, and perk utility, plus my personal god roll recommendations. So let's start with what everyone is mainly here for, the movement. Much like its twin brothers, the other half and half truths, the addition of Eager Edge to the Slammer's perk pool allows you to perform shatter and well skates, allowing you to go extremely fast in the forward direction. As mentioned previously though, for some reason Vortex frames have the unique property of simply having greater lunge on their heavy attacks, meaning your well skates are slightly faster when using the Slammer compared to the other two swords. In this clip here, I was using the Slammer and my friend his other half, and when we both skated off the same ledge, we landed a fair distance apart. However, this sword doesn't come without its caveats, the main one being that skating consumes ammo. Why does this happen? Well, it's actually to do with how fast you can perform your inputs. If your inputs are slow, ammo is consumed, but if your inputs are fast, no ammo is consumed. The trick here is just to make sure you're timing your inputs quickly, and if done right, you should never lose any ammo. Otherwise, you lose 6. Furthermore, because we can't currently enhance this weapon, we're stuck with non-enhanced Eager Edge, which is slightly worse for non-skating movement like fake skates, but rest assured it won't be like this for much longer. Strand skates on Warlock have also become faster as a result, which can definitely lead to some interesting plays in PvP.
Let's go.
While more advanced, it's also still perfectly possible to ground skate with this sword. Next, let's talk about the sword's potential damage output. And for those who've seen my previous video, you basically know the answer to this already, but despite the sword getting bait and switch, it unfortunately still isn't enough for it to be sufficiently competitive. Quickly before the video continues, if you like what you see here, consider subscribing, as we're trying to reach 30,000 subs before the release of the final shape, and we need your help to get there. Now back to the video. Vortex frames are notoriously quite bad for damage because of how expensive their heavy attack costs, which is 6 ammo by the way, and to add to that, they don't actually do a lot of damage in the first place. With bait and switch procced, a light swing on Carl hits for 32,944 and a heavy attack for a total of 123,540, meaning you only need to do 4 light attacks to match the damage of the heavy attack, which when you consider the ammo cost is vastly uneconomical to even do a single heavy attack, which is weird because that's the main draw of the frame itself. By comparison, a Revved Lament light and heavy attack hit for 38,538 and 47,102 respectively, and an enhanced surrounded bequest for 39,248 and 134,096 respectively. One thing that's actually worth exploring though is that if you do choose to use this sword for damage, what's better, Big 1/Boss Spec or Adept Impact? As you can see here, again on Carl with Big 1 Spec we hit for 25,342 without any perks or anything, and with Adept Impact we hit for 24,385, so don't bother with Adept Impact since the damage increase is minimal. What you should start to realize is that this sword is far better suited for its movement capabilities than it is for its damage potential, despite featuring competitive perks. Speaking of perks, the biggest aspect of this sword that people seem to be overlooking is the sheer utility value it provides. For starters, because it's a stasis sword, it gets access to Cold Steel, the perk which reads, Powered sword hits slow targets. More specifically, light attacks apply 40 slow stacks, meaning that it takes 3 swings to freeze the target, and the heavy attack applies 60 slow stacks, meaning 1 light, 1 heavy is enough to fully freeze a target. This is fantastic news, not because of the potential damage output, but actually because it now lends the sword S-tier anti-champion capability. A single light attack is enough to stun overload champions because they are vulnerable to slow damage, and the 1 light 1 heavy combo is enough to stun unstoppable champions because they too are vulnerable to freeze damage. Ironically, this weapon is an excellent pick for the very Grandmaster Nightfall it comes from, since the Corrupted features only overload and unstoppable champions. On top of this, because it's a Nightfall exclusive weapon, it has access to the Stunning Recovery Origin trait, which upon stunning a champion heals you for 60 HP. When combined with Eager Edge and Cold Steel, this origin trait allows you to play very aggressive because you can quickly close the gap between you and a champion, for example, and even if you take damage on the way, once you reach it, provided it's overload or unstoppable of course, you can then stun it instantly and get a good chunk of health back. The only other notable utility perk is Demolitionist, which thankfully rolls in the right column, meaning you can also combo it with Eager Edge. Each kill will be granting you 10% grenade energy, which when in a pinch is quite a nice benefit to have. A grouped heavy attack is able to fill around half of your grenade energy as well. Perks wise, that's about about as good as it gets, though I have heard that the combo of chain reaction and cold steel causes the explosions to apply slow stacks to enemies, which could lead to some nice synergy for any stasis hunters running Winter Shroud and Whisper of Refraction, though I haven't tested myself. The weapon also gets permeability, but outside of being able to change the color of your sword, I don't think this will see much use. Finally, now that we've concluded our discussion, I want to briefly end with my personal god roll recommendations. Because we ruled out the damage, I would strongly advise not chasing a roll specifically for damage, since we've seen that the other swords do it better, and instead I would recommend hunting 2 rolls, one for movement and one for utility. From purely a movement perspective, I'm recommending Enduring Blade for the most reserve ammo, Swordmaster's Guard for the plus 10 charge rate, Eager Edge, and either Demolitionist or Cold Steel. From purely a utility standpoint, i.e. anti-champion, I'm again recommending Enduring Blade, Swordmaster's Guard, Eager Edge, and exclusively Cold Steel. Really, you could get away with not having a Demolitionist roll at all, but I'm going to be farming for both just to be safe. Overall, I'm very happy with this sword, and despite it not having enhanced Eager Edge yet, I'm still going to be maining it from now until the final shape and beyond. I hope you enjoyed this short weapon breakdown, and I'll see you in the next one. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Your support means the world. And if you're really into the content I create, consider becoming a member of the channel, which not only lets you support me in the best way possible, it also nets you a whole host of awesome perks along with it. A massive shout out to these members up on screen, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now, dear viewer.